energy in the room. It is 6 o'clock, so we will call the Hudsonville Public School Board of Education regular meeting for March 9th of 2023 in order. I can have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move that.
Motion by Mark,
Support.
support from Andrew. All in favor say yes?
Yes.
All right, first up is our student council report, and Ethan Devine.
Hi,
Hi,
where am I
Ethan.
standing? Am I just sitting? Am I
Hey,
standing?
come on
I
up.
don't know where I'm going. Usually there's a podium. You know, I love to talk at these things. So I'm here for student council instead of Briella Beamer. First off, it's introducing next year's PRO, which is the person who comes and talks. Jane Talk will take over next year as a PRO. She got voted on. Great prestigious honor. It is, truly. Next year's president is Briella Beamer, the person who's talking to you at all these meetings. Vice president is Nick Gunnick. He's out there. He'll be here later tonight with the Eagle Claw percussion line. And then Secretary McCabe Schultens and Treasurer Avery Chirko. And then I know that Bree has told you a lot about the snowball we were going to have. That happened. And there were somewhere over 600 kids, no issues. The kids loved DJ Greg Rios. We made a profit, which is good because that's money that we get to use to go back into the school. And then blood drive on March 22nd. That's pretty good, you know. Applications for the new student council members is after spring break, so every year we renew, and you sometimes don't make it, sometimes you do. A lot of times it changes for the freshmen, but that's just a new refresh for next year after spring break. And then speaking of spring break, we're doing Spirit Days, the 3-day week of spring break, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're probably going to try to do anything but a backpack day again. People love that. I brought a toilet, so it's funny. And then a funny t-shirt day maybe, they said, but that's not official. Don't quote me on that. And then after spring break, right now we do Cocoa Cart. Our school climate committee goes around and gives classes free hot cocoa, but you don't want hot cocoa in May. So we're doing popsicles, which is cheaper and more delicious. So it's positive. And then last 3 things is we're giving out M&Ms to the bus drivers for miles and miles of service. There's like miles is another M. Yeah, I'm glad. That's a thing we've done for a few years now, and it's just a nice little love everybody. And then graduation is coming up soon, May 22nd. Be there or be square, you know. And that means that we're starting up senior bricks. So there's a hallway in the other campus that people in the past have gotten to paint on. And it stopped, I don't know, did they do it last year? And someone I know pushed to do it this year. It was me. So I get the joy of supervising that. During seminar, people get to like leave their mark on the school. They paint a little, well, I measured it, 4 by 8.5 brick. And has to be approved, don't you worry. And I enforce that. So that's all I've got for you. Always a pleasure.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Ethan?
Oh yeah, any questions? I'd love to answer questions.
I would like to ask you who's on your shirt, but maybe I don't.
Oh, Bob Ross.
Come on.
I'm sorry. I knew it was an oldie goldie, but I didn't know his name.
Love Bob Ross. I've dressed up occasionally. Not today. It's not like we're at school. Like I don't want to like.
Yeah. First I thought it was a BG, just because of the hair. But then when I see closer, I can see it's a BG. See? Thank you.
And welcome, Jane. We look forward to your reports next year. All right, next up is our teaching and learning features, and we're going to begin with Heidi Neuenhaus and Ryan Torville.
Okay.
And they're going to present on unified sports and adaptive basketball.
My name is Heidi Neuenhaus, and I work over at Baldwin Street Middle School for the last 20 years now. It's been a while, kind of boring, same spot. We like to stay committed, so I was just saying earlier, I'm very committed. About 9 years ago, I started Special Olympics basketball at Baldwin Street. And it has kind of evolved throughout the years. So for the last, I'd say about 4 or 5 years, we do unified basketball, and unified soccer. And unified is where students with disabilities and students without disabilities, they combine together in a sport, and they go out and we play other schools just like any other sport. We do it during the school day. At Baldwin Street, I usually get kids that are part of either the Lynx program to be part of the team, but our basketball team, which I have some pictures here, is actually the 8th grade boys basketball team. So it's really cool because the kids will come in, fill the gyms, and the kids will play. They'll see their 8th grade peers, but then they also see a lot of the kids that are in my program, which is the categorical programs at Baldwin Street. So we've got kids that are in wheelchairs, we've got kids that might use crutches, we've got kids that just don't always have the ability to play in other sports, and they love it. It is just the coolest thing. The crowds will come in, the band will sometimes come. That happened this past week. The band came in. In the past, we had the choir sing the national anthem. Like I said, we go to different schools, local schools. Zealand is a really great school that we've been working with. Granville also has teams that we work with, West Ottawa, Holland. So we will go around and play the basketball and soccer. This year we did as well. We are part of the Unified Champion Schools, so every year I write a grant, and it kind of goes through the Special Olympics organization, and then I receive up to about $1,200 every year, and that money will go toward like our uniform or our jerseys. We've also bought like adapted hoops, so the kids that are in wheelchairs are able to score on their own, and awards. Sometimes we'll do an end of the year celebration with that money as well. Yeah, it's just a really cool experience for all the kids. It fosters inclusion, and the kids just really embrace being part of a team. And it is something that like staff and students, they look forward to it every year. So it's just a really good highlight to, if you ever get the chance to come out and see it in action, it's just a really cool event. So we only do about 3 or 4 games for the season, but we like it. So, and so that's at the high school, or middle school level, and at the high school they do something a little bit different, so Brian is going to go
Sorry, I
over
was hanging
that.
out with their drummers. Drummers are not there tonight. Sorry, Brian Corville from the high school. A quick set of slides here. Oh, we can go back there. Not long, not far. So yeah, I will present a little bit about our high school basketball team. Going back historically, way back, it doesn't feel so long ago, 2005, we started with a roster of about 9 players. And fast forwarding to today with some steady growth, we're up to 3 teams consisting of 34 athletes as well as just countless supports. I'm here as a representative of the high school, but by no means am I like the high school. There's so many people making this happen for sure. Kind of starts with the Winks, who are student peers, kind of a mentor program. They will attend our practices during seminar times, and they also come out on game days to support students who may need some mobility supports or just a little support in tracking the game from one side of the court to another. The varsity boys and girls basketball teams will act as referees during our games. We also have a lot of help from the sports marketing class. They will host a luncheon before our big tournament. They'll host a luncheon. They do our rosters for us. They interview all of the students to get some interesting points on our roster. They've also provided us with some warm-up jerseys in the past as well. The foods and nutrition class will do some cookies and other refreshments on game day. Seminar class has taken up to yearly making posters for our kids. They love to throw them on the outside of their lockers, and just they're like the center of attention during basketball season. The teachers, again, are adjusting their schedules to allow their students to come down and just pack the gym on our tournament day. And then custodial staff, administrators, just I'm sure I'm missing people, and I apologize to them because they're so appreciated. But moving on with our season, we have so far had 2 game days where students are playing 2 to 3 games. The first was at Kenowa Hills this year. Then we were able to make it out to Thornapple Kellogg. Next Thursday, weather permitting, is our makeup day at Byron Center. It's actually postponed due to a snow day. Then, as is commonly referred to at the high school as the best school day of the year, is March 24th, where we will host the Ann Pasquino Memorial Class Tournament. And Ann was a huge supporter of all things basketball in our program at the high school. All of the details are yet to be finalized, but we look to start somewhere between 9:30, 10 o'clock. Wrap things up about 1:32. You're certainly all welcome to share in the love that it's our day. Athletes are going to get 2 games on the big court. Band will be playing between a couple of the games. I know in the past we've had dance team performances, and the day will wrap up with a big students versus staff game, which is just, again, a whole lot of fun. You're all welcome to attend, and I thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Brian or Heidi?
Robin, can we get those dates and board views, please? How many students at the middle school, Heidi?
So this year, we don't have as many. We've had 3 teams as well. This year, we have a smaller number on our teams. I think we currently have about 12 to 15 kids that are out of my program, and then the links, or the partner players. So it ends up being about 25 kids that travel around to the different schools.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right now we have Mr. Craig Vanderwall, who's going to tell us about the newly formed Eagle Claw Percussion Ensemble.
Hi, I'm Craig Vanderwall. I'm the band director here at the high school. A year ago, I had the pep band at the Unified High School Basketball Tournament and saw something I've never seen before. When our band started to play the school song, one of Corville's players left the bench and ran across the floor and started conducting the band. Coach has got to get his players under control. All I'm going to say. It was awesome. I just stepped out of the way, and he was just having the time of his life conducting those kids. Following some discussion after that happened, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. It became clear that the student just really wants to be a part of music. He's in our choir program here, and so at the spring concert, we put him in the tux, brought him out on stage, and had him conduct the band in a school setting at a concert. It was really neat. And then it just really tugged at my heart, like, we can do more. We can do more. So we pursued trying to find a way to put something together that all of the kids can be a part of, where they can just explore music and have fun playing. And I truly have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best, and we're having a ton of fun, and it's just been a joy to do this. So that was kind of the genesis of the Eagle Claw Percussion. Eagle Claw, the name, honestly, I'm a big fan of Cobra Kai, and I wanted to be Eagle Fang, but I couldn't rip it off, so I just went with Eagle Claw. So that's what we have for our name. But I did want something that tied to the school, but also separated them and made this special for the students. So we have about 20 kids that come to practice each week. It's a different lineup each week, but there's about 20 there. We've been rehearsing on Thursdays during seminar as much as we possibly can. And we have an awesome team of special ed staff members that come down and work with the kids. We've played at a band concert. We played at a home basketball game. We have our performance tonight. And then later in the year, they're also going to be invited to play at the spring band concert. So we're trying to get some performances lined up. This is the first year, so we'll see where it heads. I have all kinds of ideas on stuff that we can do with this. We have 10 music students that assist with the Eagle Claw program that come down during the seminar and are just helping the kids get their drums out and move their sticks in their hands and just help them with the beats. So it's been great seeing all the kids working together. The HEA gave us a grant to buy new drums. If you've ever heard of supply chain issues, I can tell you the drums aren't here yet. We ordered them in August, but we're really grateful for the new drums. But they are ordered. Our band boosters let me purchase shirts, the Eagle Claw shirts that they have on. They paid for those for the students so they can have kind of uniform costume look. We got every student their own pair of drumsticks, and we had a teacher in the building using an engraver to engrave all of their names. They all have their custom name on their sticks, which is really cool if you're a drummer. So I'm excited about that. And then the last thing I'd like to say about it is that we're trying to give these students a chance to be more included in the music and band program. So at the end of the year, when we have our yearly band banquet, we're going to invite them to join us and have a meal and get some awards and some recognition with the regular ed band students. I'm working to give the seniors that are part of Eagle Claw a music cord so they can wear that with their gown at graduation and just, be more included in some of the stuff that we do with our music students. So I love being a part of the music program here at Hudsonville. I started in it when I was in 6th grade. I was 11, never left. So it's just a true honor and a joy to be a part of something like this. The only thing, honestly, that I wish I would have thought of this, or it would have come to me, or we would have put something like this in place sooner. Right? I feel like it would have been a good thing to have this, but better late than never. We have it now. So the kids are so excited. They do not like playing quiet. I try to ask them to, and they literally yell boo when I ask them to quiet down. But we're working on music basics, trying to play beats together. We work on playing loud notes and the thing they hate, quiet notes. We work on playing fast, which they like, slow, which they don't like. So we're working on just different musical concepts like tempo and speed and dynamics. We work on playing solos and give them a chance to play solos for everybody. And then we've been putting together some songs. So that's kind of what you're going to see tonight, is just a really quick demonstration of, playing fast and loud and slow and quiet and different dynamic things. And then we're going to do our solos that we do, and then we're going to play a really quick song. Because it's Queen. They wanted to play No One Bites the Dust. So we're going to do that. So, questions? Anything? It's just been really fun. It's just a joy every Thursday to work with them. So, yeah?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. We're looking forward to the performance, and now we'll move up to the hallway.
So who's one? Who's two? Brandon. Who's number two? Who's number three? Yeah. Who's number four? Let's go forward. Who's number five? Who's number five? Who's number six? Okay. Are you ready? We're going to play 8 and we're going to do solos. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go.
All right, what a great performance. All right, up next, we have recognition of visitors and hearing the people present.
The first one is Jessica Noble.
And
Look here.
yeah.
Members of the board and Dr. Vanderjack, thank you again for your presence this evening, taking the time to hear public comment. Thank you for the time you've invested in advocating for additional measures to be put into place regarding books within the HBS system. Before going further, I would like to give time for anyone here who may be triggered by references to physical abuse or sensitive to that, or young children to step out of the room. I do believe there is a lot more work to be done in the HBS book arena for the mental health of our children. In 2001, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Child Maltreatment Report, and these will all be quoted in here that I'll send later so you can reference them. Each year, more than 3 million children are reported to authorities for abuse or neglect in the U.S. About 1 million of those cases are substantiated. Continuing research has shown that traumatic childhood experiences not only are extremely common, but also have a profound impact on many areas of functioning. What does that mean exactly? It varies by person, but if you've heard of the response, faint, fawn, freeze, it may not even be visible to another person. When a person is exposed to reminders of trauma, sensations, physiological states, images, sounds, situations, they tend to behave as if they were traumatized all over again, as a catastrophe. With research showing this to be true, why are we submitting our kids to books like free lunch? We're opening the door to allowing our children to be potentially re-traumatized through the reading of the text and discussing it with uninformed classmates and also teachers who have not read the books. They're not required to read the books. So here's a quote. He asks, what did you do to your face this time, Klutz? Ran to the door, I lie. It's not just mom's fault, it's mine too. Again, kids should not be taught that they're ever at fault for abuse. I shouldn't have raised my voice at her. I really do try to be a good kid, but sometimes I get so angry. Everything turns red. Feels like my blood is on fire. I'm going to puke or pass out. I don't know. Next thing I know, I'm screaming so hard, but that's all I do is yell. The next one, I will jump to the scene where what's actually happening. Hear the brawl, the scream, strain, the thuds, and gasps for air. Feel the floor vibrations of wrestling, kicking, someone trying to hold their ground and failing. Feel 2 bodies crash to the floor and hear a woman's voice wail in pain. And even though it's so quiet, even 20 feet away, I know the sound of air moving aside as a fist comes down again and again. I'm not upset for me, I'm upset for Ford and my mom. Usually the fights aren't my fault. This time it is. When discussing this concern with the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum at HBS, she repeatedly referred to teaching to the standards, which after I looked at them are pretty generic, and I listed all of them in here for your reference, so please follow up and look at that.
Thank you. Robin?
MJ Hernandez.
Good evening. I've been here before, stressing the importance of listening, supporting, and advocating for all students in our district. However, it needs repeating that we have a variety of students in this district, those who are not white, straight, cisgendered Christian males. 2 months ago, you heard my brave friend Tierney talk about one of her friends who's non-binary. Let me assure you that this student is not the only non-binary student in the district. They are one of many who do not fit Hudsonville's previous norm. What I'm about to say is something I hope everyone in this room agrees on. A hungry student is not a student who can learn to their full potential. There are many academic peer-reviewed studies that have proven this to be true. The physical condition of a student's body impacts their ability to learn. It is why districts offer breakfast for students before school begins. This was not always the norm, however, we adapted as we learned how to better meet the needs of our students. Does every student in our district need a school-provided breakfast? No. I'm sure there are many students who eat at home or grab something on the way out the door. However, there was a research-based solution to a problem that some of our population faced, and we changed how we operated because of it. As a middle school and high school teacher for 14 years, I can tell you that physical hunger is not the only thing that affects the student's ability to learn. Slade and Griffith researched this and showed that a student's growth and development cannot be fully realized without providing a system of supports for their non-academic needs. One of those non-academic needs is the relationship between the teacher and the student. You might ask why I'm saying all this tonight. It's because we must support our teachers in being able to develop, maintain, and foster an environment of acceptance, support, and understanding in their classrooms. Without this, students' achievement cannot reach its full potential. What can you, as a board, do about this? You must also understand, accept, and realize that every student in our district has different needs. You might understand the needs of one student, but that does not mean that all students need the same thing. To remove books from the library because of your Christian beliefs, to remove a ruler curriculum that helps educate, accept, and love differences in students because you falsely believe it's CRT and indoctrination, to push teachers who support students in marginalized communities out because they feel targeted, but to keep the teacher who has a Bible on her desk and a cross around her neck. These are all lines that should not be crossed by a group of people who have little to no experience in a K-12 classroom. This is why, yet again, I'm asking you to trust in the professionals who have experience and training in our district. The teachers who run their classrooms, the librarians who know their books, the superintendent who has many years of teaching and leadership himself. Please come out of your echo chambers and listen to the many people in this community who are begging you to think outside of your own experience and look inside the lives of the non-binary 5th grader, the Hispanic EL 3rd grader, the black high schooler, the special needs 8th grader. Get to know their lives before you make snap judgments that you think is best for all of them based on your limited lived experience.
David Bender.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you all for serving. I appreciate the sacrifice that it takes to be here and to do the job that is often thankless. I just want to say that if we ban books because one person complains, the most extreme minority gets to decide what all students can read. If we eliminate SEL curriculum when some parents complain, we let the most extreme minority decide what our schools can teach. If we decide that words like diversity, equity, and inclusion are divisive, we let the most extreme minority decide how we can speak in our schools. This isn't the conservative small government that I thought this area was fond on. This is minority control bordering on theocracy, and that's not going to lead to good learning outcomes. We hire professionals who make it their life's work to make decisions on curriculum, on programming, and on the books that are in the classrooms. We need to let the teachers teach so that they can do the job that they were hired to do. Thanks.
Anisha Kyle.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to kind of make this short and sweet. Stop banning books. 71% of parents oppose book bans in public libraries. 67% of parents oppose efforts to remove books from school libraries. You spend a lot of money to make sure that loud group parents could censor their own children. I can respect putting this into the hands of the parents. It's a personal parenting issue. I respect that. But clearly the board didn't consider how many people were actually planning to use it, as the recent numbers have shown. So stop, and I'm next going to ask that you stop putting ruler on the chopping block. Is overwhelmingly supported by our teachers who use it. Listen to the teachers. They are the professionals. They actually went to school for this. When was the last time you sat in a classroom to see how ruler works? Why would you pull something that has proven to be positive? We as a district have already paid for it and you have nothing to replace it with. Economically, that is not showing good stewardship of our school's money. Furthermore, Hudsonville School District is still in the top 5% of schools in Michigan. Understand, this is due to the teachers, not bans, not the school board, the teachers, full stop. Stop listening and start listening and respecting the professionals and their feedback. Next, I'm begging you to please start disregarding anyone who speaks hateful rhetoric towards the LGBT plus children. This is scary, okay? It's not the view of the majority. Please stop giving these horrible, hateful humans your attention. We see you disregard of topics and people we don't agree with, that you don't agree with. What about transparency and concern for all children and their needs? Parents are afraid to show up here to these meetings because they have been threatened, followed out to their cars and made to feel unsafe, myself included. Show us you denounce hateful, dangerous rhetoric towards children, any children. Show you denounce that. Please. Stop listening to your echo chambers Views like mine are not fringe. We are not a small minority, and we will not go away. We're here for kids, all kids. Like, this is scary to me, that I am concerned coming into this room. Who's gonna follow me out? Who's gonna put somebody into a corner when they're going to their car? That's scary to me, and not one of you has denounced them saying the things they say. Or said, no, we're not going to hurt children that way. This has been going on too long. Please step up. Please start looking at all the children. Thank you.
All right, next up, our action items are consent agenda. Have a motion to approve? So moved by Ken, support by Dawn. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Consent agenda approved. Moving on to our regular action items. First up is our 5-6 building furniture bid recommendation. Pat,
Sure.
you can take that one.
Yes, thank you. So really nothing new to add, unless there are questions from the surface between the work session and now. It's been a great process, inclusive process with student and teacher feedback, and feel like we've got a good foundation to set for the building, just with the furniture going in. So, any questions, let me know.
Any questions for Pat?
I just want to appreciate the work that Pat, I know Melanie did a lot of work on this also. It's a heavy lift. Thank you.
All right, the motion is that the board approve the 5-6 building furniture package for a total of $1,225,226 as presented by Mr. Briggs. A motion, or motion? Motion by Ken, second by Nick. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Next up, our eRate funded technology purchase recommendation. Pat?
Thanks. Again, we covered these both in more detail at the work session. The first is a cabling recommendation. It's a way for us to get something that's basically maintenance of our cable system, our fiber network that goes across the district. Get that funded by the federal eRate program. And the second is our department, our technology department has worked real hard to look at everything that we need to go into several of the new buildings. There's power backups, routers, just all kinds of devices. That total is $838,069, and the recommended vendor is Sentinel Technologies from Illinois. They've done other work for us. They've been a solid performer. And this, again, will be purchased out of funds from the bond and then reimbursed when we get the federal eRate reimbursement. It'll be reimbursed to the bond fund.
Okay, so we have a motion that the board approve 2 eRate technology purchase recommendations for a total of $855,323 as presented by Mr. Briggs.
So moved.
So moved by Dawn,
Support.
support by Andrew. Any further questions?
Pat, when would you think, technology ages more these days, when would you think we'd be out there looking for another upgrade on cable, on, asking you looking at the crystal ball?
Yeah.
Is it 2 years, is it 5 years, how long have we been with the current system? I guess we'll start with that.
Yeah. So I'm not as funny as the other speakers, but it kind of comes down to it gets attacked. The system gets attacked by squirrels on the north end of the district. But really, we're really maintaining the system we have right now. So the fiber has a pretty good, unless it's hit by a vehicle, it'll last for quite a while. And it shouldn't need to be. The lines themselves don't really need to be upgraded. Maybe the hardware, the connections will be. So as long as those lines stay in place, they just work.
And the line will allow for expansion of
broadband and so forth. Yeah, pretty high bandwidth on the fiber channel. Sometimes it's not all, there'll be like dark fiber, it's not all lit up. Sure. There'll be other strands that can be lit up, but I think the cable we have out there has enough fiber channels that we can expand to meet our needs. There may be more. Dr. Vanderjack and Mike Pachulia and our technology department worked on the district-wide radio project, so we may need to add some additional lines to towers, but beyond that, in our buildings, I think our network is, from the fiber standpoint, is pretty solid.
The building, it's in good shape. It's the end of the buildings that will be great.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Good question. Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The middle school science curriculum.
Yeah, so we had the opportunity during the work session to get kind of an overview presentation of the request for the MyStar curriculum, which was also a combination of some teacher-created units to really ensure that we have the vertical articulation and the rigor that we and our teachers have been accustomed to. What you have in your packet this evening is just a condensed version of that official request and recommendation for approval this evening. Certainly happy to answer any questions that you might have. I hadn't received any since our last conversation.
Okay, so the motion is the board adopt the MyStar Science curriculum recommendation as presented by Ms. Taylor.
So
So moved by Andrew.
I support that.
Support by Mark. Any questions for Amy?
Yeah, thanks for all the work on this.
Teachers, amazing.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up, our board policy updates revisions. Dr. Vanderjack.
The policy 2210 has come to the board work session, and then the first reading, there are no recommendations for changes. This is similar to this is the second reading, but similar to the first reading. Again, this policy just clarifies the definition of curriculum, which then allows us to bring back to the board in segments recommended courses, so we can kind of clean up what that looks like moving forward. So that is our recommendation to the board tonight, to approve 2210 and adopt it. And then next will be work sessions where we have to go through courses.
All right, so the board approved the second and final reading of the updates revision to policy 2210, which is curriculum development, that was presented by Dr. Vanderjack. So moved by Dawn. Second?
Support.
Support from Nick. Any further questions? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up, we have a human resource item with Anne.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand because I'm excited. You guys are gonna get to see me a lot more in the next couple months, so that'll be good. So tonight I have a recommendation for hire for the high school resource program. We had an opening due to a resignation this year, and we wanted to get the best fit. And I'm really excited that we got the best fit. So I bring to you Rachel Caswell tonight. Rachel is coming to us as a teacher from Reese Popper. She actually has been in the position as a long-term sub since January. And we were making sure that it was best fit for Rachel, best fit for us, and we're really excited because of this. So Rachel comes to us, she is her third year of teaching. She did resource and CI categorical in Reese Popper, and now she'll be doing resource here at the high school, and she's already going to coach 8th grade soccer for the middle school, so we're super excited about that as well. So this is my recommendation.
All right, so that the board approve the following human resource item, the hiring of Rachel Caswell as presented by Anne.
Support. So moved.
So by Andrew.
All the above. Just excited.
Yes. Second. Support by Dawn. Any questions for Anne? All right, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. All right, well, welcome Rachel. Next up, we have our report items. And return to in-person instruction and continuity of services plan update, Dr. Van Jan.
Yeah, I'll ask Mrs. Taylor to run through real quick the continuation of learning plan, which I'd give you the history that she's about to. And then I will ask for public comment if there's anything specifically regarding this plan when you get to the end, so go ahead.
So what you have in your packet is just a revisit of our return to learning and continuity of services plan. This is a federal requirement due to us accepting ESSER 3 funds, which are supporting a lot of the COVID relief activities around tutoring and summer school and all of the things that we're trying to do to support students. And so because we take those funds, this is a requirement that we update during a public meeting every 6 months. Upon receipt of the funds, the first update of this Return to Learn report was given in October, and here we are about 6 months later doing another update. So trying to stay in compliance so that we don't jeopardize losing those funds. There are no changes to the report since October in regard to what we are providing. I believe in the October report, there was still some old attendance data on that particular report that had now been removed. It's irrelevant and not really part of anything that we are doing in order to track our return to learn. We know that we are face-to-face instruction and COVID is not impacting any of our instructional practices at this time. So.
At this time, I'll ask if there's anybody who'd like to make a public comment. We'll ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes specifically about this plan. If there's anybody who'd like to address the board regarding this plan, I ask you to please raise your hand. I'm going to wait 3 minutes to see if anybody raises their hand. At this point, there is no public comment regarding our continuation learning plan. I would like to commend not only Mrs. Taylor, but her staff, our teaching staff, Hudsonville Public Schools, upon completion of the SAT performance this past year, was one of the first districts in Ottawa County to get to pre-pandemic levels regarding their SAT scores. I commend not only our high school staff, which worked very hard, but this is at K-12. This is the work our teachers K-12 are doing under Amy's leadership. So I really appreciate that work. Something we're very proud of. I will tell you, I can compare the rest of the districts and where they are, but that would not be wise to do in a public setting. I am proud of our staff and the work that they've done. So thank you, Mrs. Taylor, and to all of our teachers, most of them here, and our administrators that lead this work every day. Thank you.
All right, next up.
One question, how long do we continue to report? As long as we're spending ESSER funds?
Well, that's a good question. So it's really an annual update that the federal statute is updated, and then we just are in compliance with that. So I don't have to do this again until potentially next year. We'll wait to hear those updates normally come through in the summer. I would anticipate this would go away, but we shall see, and we'll continue to do what is needed. It's really a non-issue in order to have the funds to support our students.
I will say, based on the expiration of our ESSER dollars in the fall of 2024, we'll probably have to do this one more time next spring. But if it gets extended 3 more years, we'd be more than happy to do this every year for 3 years, and they extend those to the end of 2026 for refunds.
All right, Dr. Vanderjagt.
I have a short update tonight. I'm not going to go through the construction update. You can see what's going on, and please, I encourage you. I know we've done some visits with the 5-6 building. We did set up visits for incoming 5th and 6th grade parents that will be attending that building. If they'd like to take a walk through that building, we have scheduled visits. Mr. Briggs, Ms. McClure, myself, we'll be taking groups of parents through on the 21st and 22nd. Parents received an email today if they'd like to sign up and go through that process. I do want to thank all the parents that were involved in the focus group work that took place the last 2 weeks. Met with nearly 200 parents that represented nearly 200 students throughout the district, wide range of parents, wide range of a lot of positive comments. I will say the number one comment that came from our community was how amazing our teachers are, and that's just something to be proud of. There is work to do. There's a lot of comments, a lot of suggestions, a lot of things that we need to work on, and we'll discuss that in our upcoming work session. We're preparing a document that gives a summary of the focus groups. Again, these focus groups were simply designed to get feedback from our community, so the survey work that we're going to do with our entire community can be targeted to make sure we're asking the right questions. You may have heard there's legislation about requiring in cursive in the buildings. I think I shared that with you last Friday. If that goes through, great. That did not come up in any of our focus groups. It did come up 3 years ago. One of the parents said, my kid does not have to sign a check. So And then the kids only book the check. So that was, but we are looking at trying to, so I will say at our next work session, we have two, one of our main conversations at our next work session is to really dive into that focus group conversation. And you will be receiving copies of student, staff, and community surveys. Most of the staff and student surveys will have pretty tied up and pretty targeted, but we'll have to have a lot of conversation with the community survey. What do you want to hear from the community so that when we do get into this work in the summer to draft our strategic plan, we're asking the questions because we don't want to ask multiple surveys. We have one survey, I'll say we have one shot, we do it one-on-one. We run this, do it right. So that'll be our main conversation at our next work session. So that is my update. And don't ask about snow rate tomorrow. Don't ask. I know.
So you opened it.
Oh.
Can you talk about cursive a little bit? Is that a thing, or is it not a thing, or I'm putting you on the spot. With no heads up, I'll admit that.
Yeah,
What do you
wait,
think?
So I'm a former elementary teacher, and I think that there's a tremendous amount of value in handwriting. So I taught first grade, so I'll just make some connections since you put me on the spot. But I taught first grade, and I think that handwriting, from the ability to then articulate into writing, if I don't know how to make an H, I'm gonna get stuck in my head when I'm trying to sound out words to put them on paper. So I think handwriting has a place. I also think as a mom, I think cursive is important. I think our lobbyist who gives updates at the ISD was talking about some of the hearings, and the person who was really pushing for the legislation was actually reading from a typewritten document, which I find a little funny. So I think cursive has a place. I think handwriting for sure has a place.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Dr. Van? All right, I think this is going to be record time, but I will take a motion for adjournment.
You can go on through it.
Oh, forgot about that. Mr. Davis.
Yes, when I was in 5th grade, we had to do handwriting, and I was abysmal. And so Mrs. Cummings was my teacher, and I thought, I'll show her I can do this. And so I did my penmanship, and she praised me in front of the entire class. So I said to myself, I never need to do it again. I'm all set.
Andrew?
Just a couple of things, where's Mr. Eno? There you are. So again, thank you for the high school updates. Shout out to the robotics team and the Science Olympiad team. Both did very well in the most recent competitions. The robotics team's going to the World Championship, or one of those going to the World Championship. So that's awesome. The Science Olympiad, and again, 7 gold medals and just a lot of great work there. It's just really exciting to see the growth of the STEM projects, the STEM activities and programs and so forth from 10 years ago when we kind of started on this journey. And then because it's near and dear to my heart, I'll give a shout out to Drumline, because Drumline took first place in their competition in their division 2 weeks ago, and second place in the overall, where they're competing against high-level bands as well. So shout out to that group as well. So all good stuff. Thank you.
I'll just put a plug into the musical. I know a few of us up here have children in it next week, so 5 shows. You get to see Mr. Beal up there as well.
Dylan Bitter.
And Dylan. And so you got your lines.
Almost.
You good?
Yeah, I'm gonna rush right over there when we adjourn.
Reserve the pipes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so next Thursday through Sunday, looking forward to that. And I just want to thank Mr. Dearling. I knew you were here at some point when he left over at Ensemble. It was great to go and read to some classes yesterday. I got to read to my niece and nephew, so that was a blast. I think I made the day, so that was cool. Thanks for letting me come. And yeah, the United basketball was really awesome at the middle school. There's one kid, he should not have been playing. He was way too good to be out there. He was a ringer, but when he cashed that 3 ball from the corner, the crowd just went wild. That was really cool. So those are like the really fun parts of this job. So there's a lot of fun parts of this job, but the other day was really fun. So appreciate the opportunities to do that.
Just a couple things. I think the performance tonight by the Eagle Claw group is another reminder that our staff is not willing to just do only what they're paid for. And the fact that they're going above and beyond to again widen the range of students who have just amazing opportunities. And so again, thank you over and over to teachers and staff and for the administration that supports those requests and grant writing that brings in some additional funds. I'm just very grateful to see that ongoing just heart of the staff. And also, I don't know if Mr. Hegel is here tonight, but I had a great, awesome packet of thank you notes and appreciate the fact that their staff in the middle of a busy day took the time to have their students write either a little thank you card or draw pictures. And the fact that some of the teachers commented about the conversations they had with their students about what does a board member do. I kind of would, I wanted to have been a fly on the wall because you just don't know what they would say. But yes, thank you for those small tokens of appreciation in a sometimes not so fun task on a regular basis, but thank you so much for that.
Were any of those in cursive?
There actually were several, yes, there were, especially the teachers. Right.
For the record, what is the record? For the time, no. I'll say a couple of comments before we leave. I want to, as Nick did, I got to attend a couple of events this week. I was at Riley Middle School for the trade show, and they're into the Molly and Matt, and they did a fantastic job, and anyone else who was involved in that. To see those kids represent these businesses, look you in the eye, and very clearly articulate their message, that is something that's going to help them for the rest of their life. So I'm very happy to see that kind of stuff going on. Also, I'd like to thank Ryan. At the last work session, he did a fantastic presentation on the signs that we just approved this afternoon or this evening. And so I want to commend him for the work that he did there and all of the work that the teachers and staff are doing to make these issues, make these programs work for Hudsonville. And so I'm very, very happy about that also. So thank you very much.
All right, I would agree, many wonderful things happening in the district, and I know many of the board members, including myself, are out this past week attending various events, so thank you. All right, now I will take a motion to adjourn. So moved. All right, so moved by John, support by Ken, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned.
Sorry.